Coming up next on the PEG podcast.
Until the client decided to just pull the plug, and we never finished it. And it was, he was very kind and gracious, and I felt terrible. His house had been hit by a typhoon, and he was using a cell phone charger to power a light bulb in his house at night.
Oh my gosh.
We just want to make a difference. Pay Podcast.
Well, I'm Karen Spann, and you're JP Revel, and welcome to PEG's podcast of Making a Difference. That's why we're in business, but we're here to talk about you and Lelander and Market.
Major.
I was close.
You were. Yeah.
And I'd love to learn about how you make a difference in your employees' lives, in the lives of your clients, and in the lives of the community through both of your companies.
What a wonderful opportunity.
So why don't you get started and tell me how you got in both of your businesses first?
Okay. Lelander first.
Mm-hmm.
Lelander's 15 years old. And I started it basically out of a need. It wasn't a grand inspiration as much as it was a practical need. I had been a freelance software developer myself for about a decade. And the freelance life is feast or famine. And I wanted to find a way to do something better. I was just working too much as it was. I kept on not wanting to say no when people came to me with requests, and I figured there was a better way. And so that was really the genesis of Lelander, was just trying to fulfill a need. It's not really glamorous, but it's the facts. And what was different about starting Lelander from maybe other software companies or other professional companies is I started with teaming up with other freelancers.
Oh, that's a great idea.
So I didn't hire anyone for a long time. I actually continued to find other freelancers, and I fell into becoming a project manager as the team grew. Until I realized I was worse at that than I was at writing code. And I found someone who could take that first place, and even they were a freelancer. So it took a few years before we actually had a first staff hire. And we continued that path. We grew we now call it our network of independent experts. So we have a US-based network of independent experts across a bunch of different specialties in web and software development. And it's backed by a small staff, currently 5, including me. We've been as big as 9 at one point, but that's for 5 now.
So I read on your website, you mostly do 2-week projects. Is that right?
We do 2-week sprints.
Sprints.
So
what's the difference between a project and a sprint?
Great question. A sprint is part of what's called agile methodology, and it's a way to incrementally improve software. So agile it has a whole bunch of aspects to it, but a sprint is like a 2-week cycle where at the end of that cycle, you're complete. Whatever it is that you agreed to do at the beginning is what you're trying to make sure that it is done and ready for production in 2 weeks.
Well, that's a huge blessing, because I know sometimes we have projects that are never done.
That's exactly right. And I've had that. I've learned from my own mistakes. I had a project that had a team of 8 working for over a year, and we were almost done until the client decided to just pull the plug, and we never finished it. And it was, he was very kind and gracious, and I felt terrible about it. But one of the things I learned was It's better to be 100% done with 90% of the project or 90% of the work than be 90% done.
Totally agree. Totally agree. In fact, our last conversion, I think they just kind of dumped it on our laps, 30% done. And it was a nightmare.
Agile was made for the product owner. So for the business, the person who's managing the product, because you have all this investment of time and energy and you don't actually get to capitalize on it if you don't have something that's production ready and done.
Mm-hmm.
So that it was a change. This has become more widespread in the industry now. When we first started it, it was more avant-garde. Now it's become more industry standard, but getting to these increments where when at the end of a sprint, that work can be shipped and that work can be done.
Had we not gone through that conversion, I would not have as much of a knowledge of how needed what you do is. Mm-hmm. It's very much needed.
I grew Lelander through this independent network of talent. And so, with your podcast talking about making a difference, the first person that comes to mind is this guy named Michael. I love telling the story about Michael. He came through the Launch Code program. Mm-hmm. I think he was in the first 50 Launch Code graduates, the first 50 people to be assigned to a company going through the program. And the program then was still very, in its infant stage. He found out about Launch Code because his dad read about it in the paper. Michael was homeschooled and he was 16. And he came to meet with me in a coat and tie. And his mom was outside in the car. And I think one of the first things he said was, I've discussed this with my mom and she's willing to drive me here every day for 9 to 5.
That's adorable.
He lived in Union, Missouri. So it's like over an hour away. And I was like, Michael, I am not going to do that to your poor mother.
You can work at home.
Yeah, I did. That was one of the things I said first is you don't have to work 40 hours. We can start smaller. You're still going to school. And also you can work from home. And he was, his eyes opened up. Wow, really? Obviously this is pre-pandemic and remote work as a thing. And so he was thrilled and we were thrilled with his performance. And one of the funniest parts to me is he vastly undersold himself, even though he was just 16. We had a project that was asking for Java. He goes, oh, I learned Java at 13. I read it in the library, read a book on Java in the library. Michael, okay, sounds good. So he's still with us today. Actually was on a meeting with him before I came here. And he went on to go to college at Liberty University online. And then he went to Georgia Tech for computer science, master's computer science 4.0. And while he worked the whole time, he's just a phenomenal person. And he's very involved in his church. He's very involved in his faith. And I never worry. I never wonder when I put him in any kind of situation, handles himself with such grace. I put him in situations with intimidating people or angry people. He has perfect composure. So it's really fun to see having someone who started so young. Obviously, he had many gifts before he came to us, and we've been able to give him more opportunities. We actually hired his brother for a while. His brother's now a software engineer at a large agriculture company. So it's been really, really wonderful.
That's a great story.
Thanks.
So tell me how you help your clients.
Good question. So Lelander tries to help bring software solutions to problems that are wide ranging from, it could be as simple as I need a marketing site for my company to, like some of the more complex ones would be like, I have a large company has a legacy system, and how do we modernize the legacy system without causing disruption to the operations? So we've had clients that do that. Our favorite kind of work is mobile app development. We've been fortunate enough to do over 20 mobile apps over the years. And the most recent one that we're very proud of, is we got to do one for Concordia Publishing House. It's their Lutheran Study Bible app. And it is, it's a full Bible app, but it also has all the study notes from the Lutheran Church. And I'm not going to sound like I'm the authority on that. I'm not the authority on that particular part of it, but I know that it's a very complex, it was a very complex request, because there's many references that you can pull up as you're reading scripture, that it like follows the study Bible follows as you read the scripture. So it's really beautifully done. Concordia was great to work with. Really smart people there. And our team just loved that project. That was like one of our all-time favorite projects.
I'll bet that's a wonderful project.
Yeah.
So tell me about giving back to the community. Do you all get involved in the community?
We do. So, but candidly, like I'd say that Lelander's purpose, beyond just like serving clients and serving our employees, has not been as strong as I've wanted it to be. And we had some early opportunities to do community service, and that is a very highly, how do I say this? The team really loves doing that. They really enjoy doing that. And we've done projects with different organizations. The one that comes to mind is Operation Food Search, spending a day with them, helping pack food, and the team just loved getting into it, getting their hands dirty. And I think we were all pretty sweaty by the end of it, but it was really fun.
That too.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
But that lack of purpose has bothered me for a long time. And that was one of the biggest reasons for starting Major. It was purpose from the beginning.
Oh, that's neat. Tell me about that.
In the summer of 2020, in the beginning of the pandemic, when everyone was locked down, I had COVID. There was a lot of other family tragedy going on. There was a lot of difficulty going on, but we were taking care of my father-in-law, and he had a stroke. So we were trying to take care of him while, sadly, everyone in my family got COVID in the middle of it. And thankfully it wasn't bad as far as symptoms go, but we were all trying to isolate and keep apart. And so I have this, I call it a shack office, this little place, and I just would be gone from morning to night, staying there just to isolate. And I would work during the day, but I had more time than, I still had a lot of available time. And someone invited me to a webinar on productivity. And I went to that, and it was a thinly veiled attempt to sell virtual assistants. But the person who gave the webinar spent a lot of time talking about why he chose the Philippines for finding his virtual assistants. And I got off the webinar and I was like, I'm not going to call that guy for a virtual assistant. I'm instead going to go learn more about the Philippines. There was just some of the things that he had told me I was really intrigued by, really interested in. And I continued to research it. And I was like, I thought it was the Holy Spirit that actually led me to saying, like, this is a place that you can make an impact in the world, and that there might be a reciprocal, it might be an impact that's put on me and as a result. And so as I pursued this, I was really just looking for a virtual assistant at the time. And I took a class on how to hire one. And that actually put me in touch with a whole slew of Filipinos, and really started to see what was so great about these people. They're resilient and happy when happiness is difficult. So part of the class was, or part of what the class said is, if you need one, hire two. And I was like, I don't need two. I only need one. But I followed the class and I hired two. And I'm glad that I did, because one was a scammer and one was a godsend. One was amazing. And the one who's a scammer, we took a couple of months to figure it out, but we got rid of her. And
Out of curiosity, how a scammer, how?
She was subbing out every request to someone else and then making it sound like she was doing it. And I think that she was taking jobs like mine, where she said she was going to be a full-time employee, but she was doing it for lots of companies and then just farming out all the work to other people. And had it been good enough, maybe I wouldn't have known, but the quality of what was being sent back was so off that I was like, something's not right. So, and of course, that's not what we agreed to. So I hired this virtual assistant. She showed me what was possible. And then about a year later, I went to the Philippines. I grew to a team of 5 managing back office activities at Lelander, and went to go visit the team. And I had a bit of an ulterior motive, because I wanted to see if the Philippines was a place to invest time, energy, effort. And long story longer, I did. And so when I was there, I announced to them that I was going to start a new company, because it didn't have the same mission as what Lelander had. And so I split 2 people off of the back office and started Major.
That's neat.
Yeah, it's been great. So it's now 3 years old. We have a team of 11. It's going well. I'm very pleased. It was one of the fun things about it was that I got to start a company having now run one and having built one. So I could bypass a bunch of the mistakes that I'd already made building Lelander. And I feel like within a year, we got maybe 3 years of distance, because I could avoid a bunch of mistakes.
Would be nice the second time around.
Yeah, it's a little bit better. less surprises.
So you said you have this time you're mission based. How are you mission based?
Yes,
in the Philippines.
So some of the problems that I saw were the second largest industry in the Philippines is shipping Filipinos out of the country to go work in other countries.
Really?
The largest industry in the Philippines is BPO, or business process outsourcing. Think call centers,
right,
or data admin. The second largest industry is sending people out of the country to go find better work, because there's I guess I would call it underemployment. There is employment, but is far under the capabilities of these people. When I was there, I went to a mall, and they have a security guard at every mall opening every entrance to the mall. And in order to be a security guard, you have to have a college degree. I thought, why on earth? Why does that require a college degree? It's just because there's so many people who want to apply that they can artificially raise it and have people that are way overqualified doing work. So I saw the underemployment. I saw the what they call OFW, offshore Filipino worker, and industry, and terrible commutes. People the lucky ones who get the call center jobs, many of them have 2 to 3+ hour commutes. And if you don't show up on time, they're happy to let you go and there's a long line of applicants who are ready to take your job. So everyone has to show up early. So if your job starts at 9, you're there at 8:30. That means you got up, you left the house at 6. And it's just not a life. It's just not a life. So I was like, if we could, first of all, just on the foundation level, can we create a place where people don't have to leave the country to find dignified work? Can someone do the work that's actually appropriate to their education? And can they do it from home so they don't have to go through these commutes? That's sort of like the table stakes, but we are giving 10% of the profit back for home building, teaching financial literacy, and equipping for natural disaster.
That's wonderful.
They just went through a typhoon. There's several typhoons a year that go through the Philippines. There's one due to come this weekend. And there was someone on my team who, several people on my team who lost power, and there have been, terrible winds and rain. But one team member, they were looking for drinkable water and things we take for granted. So sadly, he was one person I didn't see last, but the last time I came, I actually brought life straws, which are these like water filters you drink through a straw.
Oh, right.
So you can have clean drinking water.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just, every time I see them, I'm always trying to bring them something to like equip them for natural disasters. We bought battery backups and food supplies and make sure that people have extra water. That's just anything we can do so that our team isn't the one that needs help, but maybe they can offer help to someone. So that's where we're starting with our disaster preparedness. But home building, like I didn't intend for that to be an issue, a thing. But when I was there, our van driver told one of my team members that his house had been hit by a typhoon and he was using a cell phone charger to power a light bulb in his house at night.
Oh my gosh.
And it had been like that for 11 months.
11 months?
11 months. And
we are so blessed.
We are. I joked. I was like, I don't want to be in the Philippines without air conditioning, let alone no electricity. And so we got in touch with this guy and asked him, what is it going to take to get electricity to your house? And he told us. And I said, could you just do me a favor and just take some pictures so I can understand what we're dealing with? And I cried when I got his pictures back because he wasn't living in a house. He was living in a found objects tied together, and when I met him, he seemed totally normal. I don't know how else to describe it. He was wearing like a polo shirt and jean shorts and
you would never know.
Never know. But I couldn't believe what I saw when I saw his pictures. And so we just sent him a gift. And I said, you know what you need more than I do. Electricity might not be your biggest need. And he built a house. We sent $1,000 US Now, it's not a palace.
And he built
But
a house
he
with
built a house.
$1,000.
And he built it in 2 weeks.
Wow.
I was just stunned. It's a 2-room concrete slab floor. Like I think they call it hollow block or like cinder block wall to like waist high, and then bamboo above and a corrugated tin roof. But he was so thrilled.
Talk about making a difference in someone's life.
Yeah. Yeah. When that happened and he showed me that like the supplies are there, the labor's there, the regulation's not like the US, obviously. I just said, oh, we're doing that again. Like, there's no way we're not doing this again. You can build a house for $1,000. And so we've done 4, and we're trying to make it like an annual time, like around Christmas time. This year it'll be January. We call it Project Starfish.
What a neat name.
Yeah.
I love that.
So we'll be gifting at least 1, but hopefully 2 or 3 houses each year. And as the business grows, we can support doing more.
Wow. Thank you for telling us your story.
Yeah.
What a pleasure to have you on our show.
Thank you so much.
It is just a joy to hear all the ways you're making a difference in people's lives.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I look forward to hearing the next time you come on our show what you've done for people, because I'm sure there'll be a lot more.
Oh, that's very kind. Thank you so much.
I wish you the best.
Thank you. And you too.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks.
We